Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Critical Reactions. I was muted there for a second, but now I have a voice again. We're going to be continuing on with this week's theme of side projects, where we look at bands, or we look at projects that band members have done on the side of their primary or larger bands. Today we're going to be looking at Battle of Mice. The song's called The Bishop, and this was the random selection at the lower end of the poll. Honestly, Julie Christmas is the vocalist. If this hadn't been picked, this would have been my personal pick that we would have done tomorrow just because it's Julie Christmas. So, I don't know anything else about this. Let's get into it. I know I'm going to enjoy the vocals. That's about all the information I know going into this one. Let's go.
Spirals of gray smoke, statues made of bark, a lace for every year. Sets of paling eyes, peering through a hole, one taller than the rest.
Holy cow! Talk about a cacophony and just that compression on the vocals, man. Doing a lot of heavy lifting with not a lot of instrumentation. A lot of atmosphere being created with very few layers.
Nobles bark on sidewalk blocks of lashes thick with sleeping wishes. Battlefields of noble bark on sidewalk.
Okay, I'm going to preface this and say that I should like this for the simple fact. If that heavy, almost the sludge part, where you got those really heavy guitar chords and then the male screamer, I think, if that part wasn't in the song, which would have reduced it down to about 4 minutes, but the verse and the chorus were all kept the way it is, I would not question anybody who told me that this was a B-side for Jackoff Jill. And for that simple reason, I want to enjoy this. Jackoff Jill is a edgy punk rock group, I guess, with some Manson-esque, like what is it, Marilyn Manson-esque vibes to them, with a female singer who does something very similar to this, where it has almost that cutesy, airy, clean singing that's contrasted heavily with some pretty brutal fries and harsh vocals. Sorry, and a lot of the musical ideas are very similar between the two bands as well. The chorus before the clean singing layer comes in sounds exactly like a Jackoff Jill song. And I enjoy that band, even though the music is extremely simple and a lot of it comes off as try-hard edginess nowadays. You know, as a teenager, I thought it was really cool. You know, how could they say stuff like that? That kind of thing. Like, yeah. But, you know, I still have a soft spot for them because I grew up on that kind of music, and, you know, they're still kind of unique. And this song captures a lot of what I enjoy, or a lot of the nostalgia I have for that band. But aside from the nostalgic aspects of this song, it just doesn't come together for me. And I think a lot of it has to do with the noise. And I don't want that to come off as negative. The song is obviously going for a sense of cacophony. It is going for heavy layering. It's going for heavy distortion. It is going for that chaotic sound. And for what it's worth, I think it pulls it off well. I'm not going to say it's expertly done. We've heard bands before that have just masterclass in creating sense out of chaos, making entropy palatable to the ears. And I don't believe that's happening here to the same level, though it is still listenable. It is not completely chaotic to the point that it is difficult to listen to. There's still strands of concepts and ideas that are palatable to most people's ears, I would think. The verse, I think, is very palatable. We have the creepy piano part that's kind of toned to sound like a toy piano, and it's playing creepy, diminished-esque sounds. And then we have her breathy. I was gonna say breathless, breathy singing that's a little bit higher pitched. With a little bit of edge to it. I think it comes out of that breathiness where it requires that you push more air out, and it just has more of a menacing tone to it. It just kind of comes with that. It's not like the pop breathiness where it's more effortless and elegant. There's definitely you can hear the diaphragm pushing the air out. It's a more forceful breathiness than what we typically see in pop's more vulnerable breathiness. And there's even a little bit of like fry crackle added to a couple of the notes to give it some distortion and an edge of malice almost. I don't. The song is obviously about something, but I don't know what it's about. A lot of the lyrics were lost on me. There's a lot of layering going on in the chorus, where the core idea, the thesis, is typically presented, and then the verse. I don't know. I just didn't pick up any lyrics. I guess it's not, like I've said before. It's not usually what I listen to on a first time. Um, but after having heard the song, there's a lot of weight put on the lyrics, and I've lost some of the purpose of the song by not engaging with the lyrics. Unfortunately, I kind of came to that conclusion a bit too late. But so yes, there's definitely this malice, this uh, creepiness, this strangeness factor that's in the entire verse. And then we get into the chorus, which is just this heavy guitar, lots of distortion, lots of compression. There's even compression on her vocals, which are already compressed due to her using, um, if not an outright fry scream, there's definitely fry compression added to her cleans. So we have just this crunchy vocal tone, on top of this extremely distorted guitar bit. Drums have come in, we have this big explosive part. And then after we do one repetition of that, which I was like 4 bars, 8 bars maybe, um, then we move into the second vocal layer, which to me was a bit muddy. It's the cleans that are supposed to be sung over the grittiness that's presented previously in the chorus, and it's not clear to me what's being said. I can hear some of the notes. A couple of the notes actually blend in. I don't know. Maybe they were singing the same note that the guitars were playing or something, but a couple of them kind of faded into the background, which is interesting. It wasn't all the words. It was just a couple of them just became part of the song, and then a few of the other ones were more spotlighted. But that part got really messy, and I think it was part of that waving in and out of background and foreground, but it just doesn't come together for me. I think the concept is good. We have the clean versus the gritty. I like the high versus the low, where, to me at least, I hear the clean vocals above the grittiness below it, not necessarily beside it or next to it or anything like that. In my ears, it's definitely above it. And there's some really cool contrast going on with that concept, but I think the mix really holds it back for me. And some of that may just be due to the amount of compression being used for the gritty part that's really overpowering some of the higher end clean stuff. I'm not really sure what would need to be fixed there for me to enjoy it more, but definitely a bit more separation between the clean and the gritty, the clean and the dirty. They mix together just a little too much, and while I can see that there's some artistic representation there where you can't completely remove the cleanliness from the dirtiness, they will always be together. They are two sides of the same coin kind of concept. I don't think it worked in practice. Again, I don't know if it was intentional or not. I don't know if they were trying to show that they were, together. But I think elevating the cleans just a little bit, pulling them out in the mix, would have helped that section a lot for me. Um, the only other section in the whole song was the part with the male harsh vocals, with the really heavy, slowly paced, longer guitar notes. That section just did not work for me at all. I don't understand what it has to do with the song. It feels out of left field. At least the verse and the chorus have some common strings together to hold them. But I just don't, it feels disconnected to me. I don't really feel like it adds anything. And maybe if I understood what was being sung and I understood the narrative of the story, maybe there's a point to having the two voices. Maybe it's a dialogue between two characters or something, I don't know, but without any of that context, it just doesn't make any sense to me. It holds the entire song back. It lengthens it out to a length that I don't think helps it at all. The song feels a bit too long for me, and I think it's primarily because this section is, I mean, it takes up 2 minutes or so combined. We visit it twice. It takes up 2 minutes of the track, And again, I don't think it adds anything. I think it's a fat that really needs to have been cut out to make the song leaner and more concise. So that's kind of my overall thoughts on it, is that there's a lot of elements in here that if I don't outright enjoy, I have nostalgia for because they remind me of what I used to listen to as a teenager. But there's also several sections that just don't work for the song and don't work for me personally. And I don't know, it's kind of weird. It's a song that feels familiar but I've never heard before. It's a song that I enjoy but don't like. It's a song of contradictories for me, and I don't really know how to place it. I think this is definitely a track that's going to require a couple more listens for me. It has intrigued me, as almost every song has. I don't think there's many songs that I've listened to and said I'm writing off the band, or I didn't enjoy it. I don't want to listen to anything else. I don't think we've had anything like that. So as usual, I'm intrigued in what the band can do. I'm intrigued with what else they've written, what other styles they write in, or if they stick with this, how they develop this sound. But this song itself did not really work for me, but it has intrigued me. I am interested in other things that Battle of Mice has done. So yeah, I think that's how I'm going to close this one out. Very interesting listen. Like I said, it's very contradictory. It's deja vu I've never had before. I'm remembering something I've never done. So yeah, this song put me in a weird headspace. It really did, and that intrigues me on its own. But yes, like I said, there are some elements that I enjoyed, and I'd like to see if the band can expand on them in any way, or if they have expanded on them in any way that would any other songs that I would appreciate more than this one. So yeah, that's my thoughts on The Bishop by Battle of Mice. Hit me up in the comments. Let me know what you thought. Um, I guess I can put a small recommendation for Jackoff Jill in there if you're looking for some punk rock teenage angst, try hard edginess. I can't promise it'll be fantastic music for anybody who's kind of aged out of being a teenager and has kind of matured a bit. Like I said, I have a soft spot for them for their nostalgia, but it's very interesting. I can't say I've heard any other music like it up until this. Like I said, this really scratched that itch, which is kind of unique. Like I said, I've never heard anything quite like Jackoff Jill since being a teenager. So definitely a unique type of itch if you're wanting to check out something new that might not necessarily be in your taste, but is something that's not replicated very often. All right, like I said, you could put down in the comments anything you have about this song. And above that's a description box if you're interested in checking out any videos that YouTube has blocked, as well as a link to the Patreon if you'd like to join the Discord community, or vote on future themes and bands. Both of those are benefits of joining the Patreon community, and it's only $1 a month. There's also a subscribe, a like, and a bell button. If you could push all those, it helps out the channel immensely, and if you're interested in getting notified about when I put new stuff up, it can help you out immensely. And that wraps up today's episode. Tomorrow we have the final episode for this week's theme of side projects. It is my personal pick, the one that stood out to me the most. It is not a song I have not a band I have any knowledge about, but the band name is pretty cool. I kind of have some ideas about it already. So I'm interested how they tie the ideas of their band name to their music, if at all. I mean, they could have just randomly selected, hey, that sounds cool, let's name our band that, and has nothing to do with their music. But I'm intrigued by the band name nonetheless. And then we have some special selection coming up on the weekends. All right, until tomorrow at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 10 p.m. UTC, you guys keep being safe out there. Keep being awesome, and have a fantastic morning, afternoon, or evening whenever you choose to watch my videos.